Welcome to the Love Where You Live podcast, where we have conversations about how awesome it is to live in Boulder County. I'm Michael Lovato, and I'm joined by a super special guest today. I'm going to ease into the introduction, and I'm going to say this. The man sitting to my left here in studio, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see him here. If you're listening, you're going to get to hear the buttery soft tunes of his voice here in a minute. But this man, by way of introduction, he didn't grow up in Boulder. By all my calculations, he's been here a quarter century about, but we're going to dive into that. And he's got a really great story, a really great past. And the thing that I love about this guy is that he's a family man first. He's got two beautiful daughters and a gorgeous wife. Hope it's okay if I refer to your wife as gorgeous. Elizabeth and his two daughters, Eloise and Eleanor. If you guys are dialing in on this, you know I'm sitting down with Phil Zajicek. And I'd actually like you, Phil, to say how you would prefer that I pronounce your name.
Zajicek is fine.
Okay, so I was close. So Phil, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. This is wonderful. I love to talk about Boulder. Love it here.
Yes, you love it here, and you've been here a long time. So first things first, I like to talk about where did you start out? Tell us about little Phil, young Phil. Where did you grow up? A little bit about your hobbies and pastimes as a little guy.
Yeah, so I'm from Tucson, Arizona. Fell into love with cycling when I was 16. Just loved it. Loved everything about it. Rode all day, every day. Graduated high school early. But in the summer, Tucson gets a little warm. So I have an uncle who lives up in Estes. So I started coming up to Estes to hang out and, you know, just loved it up there, but started coming down to Boulder to ride the canyons and, you know, looking around like, oh my gosh, this place is great. So then I got a place in Boulder and this, you know, kind of became home base for all the cycling.
Okay. So am I right in assuming, were you born in Eugene, Oregon? Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
So you were born in Eugene, Oregon. You moved to Tucson. Couldn't be any more different there. Dry, wet climates.
Yeah, very.
How quickly did you get to Tucson? We'll just quickly, I'm curious.
By way of Boston. So I grew up outside of Boston.
Okay.
And then moved to Tucson when I was 15.
Okay, 15. And so you're 15 years old. You're riding the bike in Tucson. You start to be pretty good at it. Am I right?
Yes. Came out and won my first race. You know, started doing the shootout, which I think you know about, big training race. And one of the local pros, Gord Fraser and Jimmy Riccatello, who's a triathlete, really took me under their wing and helped me, you know, just become a good cyclist.
Yeah. I think when I first met you, you said, Jimmy taught me how to ride a bike.
Yes.
And I don't think you meant pedaling, push pedaling as a kid.
Racing on the shootout. I mean, every week was a full-on race on the shootout. And Jimmy and Gord would coach me along, and it was really, really powerful.
Yes. Anyone that is in touch with the endurance community, cycling in specific, will know these names. Gord Fraser, one of the best U.S. riders throughout, the 90s, really?
Yep.
And into the early 2000s. So that's your mentor. And Jimmy Riccatello, one of the beasts, a couple world champions, I should say, at Xterra. And these are your mentors. So you're good on the bike. What was the first time you realized, hey, you know what? I might be able to make a run at this as a pro?
So my first race, the Tucson Bike Classic, where I rolled up and won. And, you know, from there on, I realized, like, oh my gosh, I love this, and maybe I can be good.
Yeah, that's it, real early there. And so hold on, I'm trying to, so how old were you when you went to visit your uncle in Estes?
Must have been 17.
17, 18. So then that's your first time coming to the mountains and being like, this is the exposure to Front Range. Yeah.
Tucson's amazing. You know,
sure.
Really good mountains, but here the mountains are just so special. We have so many canyons in Boulder, so many ways to get up to the peak-to-peak highway, and then you can link the different canyons together. So, you know, that's what makes Boulder amazing for cycling.
There you go. Okay. So, correct. And we were talking about this a little bit last week, Amanda and I. These canyons, if you're not from here and having this easy access to the mountains, it's kind of remarkable for where we live.
Oh, just so many options. Like go and ride up Magnolia, see how that treats you.
Yeah.
Or you can cruise up on Left Hand Canyon. So huge variety.
Okay, while we're there, I'm gonna just dive back into when I remember first meeting you, and this is kind of my introduction to Phil. I didn't know any of that. I knew nothing. You were, by the way, a junior national champion. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So junior national champion and then professional. We're going to come to that in a minute, but I want to just take you back to when I first met him. I was introduced to this guy on text. His name's Phil Zajicek. I don't do any Googling. All I know is, hey, we're going to go for a bike ride. He says, I've got this old guy ride, and we're going to meet at 6 or 6:30 a.m. at Ebongee Fine. We go on the mountain bike on Fridays, and then on Tuesdays we do a road ride as well. But it's an old guy ride, and I'm thinking, I'm a couple years retired from being a Ironman athlete, and I might have a little bit of fitness left. I'll just go ride with these old guys. It sounds appealing. I don't think either of us are really terribly that old. But I show up on this ride, Phil, and you and I are we get at the group of the 6 or 8 of us on mountain bikes, and we start to roll up the end of Boulder Creek path. And the tempo is a little bit warmer than I'm actually used to because I'm, like I said, retired now. But we get to 4 Mile Canyon, we turn, we start going up 4 Mile. I'm not sure I've ever even ridden on 4 Mile because, again, I was a triathlete. I spent my time on the basic roads. We start to climb up, and you and I are just chit-chatting. Oh, my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. And you say something like, I didn't really do much mountain biking when I raced. And I'm like, me neither. Oh, you used to race. That's the first time I knew that you had a racing background. So we're kind of pedaling along side by side, and there's 2 people right behind us and then another 4 or 6 behind. And there's this little group. Well, we start to kind of distance ourselves a little bit, and you're just chatting away. Couldn't be any nicer. Not tooting your own horn, not talking about the accomplishments you had or anything that you've done. But we're riding along, and I start to think, man, I may be in a little bit of trouble. Like, this is not your average old guy ride, okay? And we pop up, get to Patasso. We go down the link. So we go down the link. Can you tell us what the link is at the beginning?
From down to Canyon?
That's right.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, down to the Patasso Trail off of 4 Mile.
Oh, that's super fun.
Super fun.
Super fun, twisty.
You basically go down a set of stairs that are about 20 stairs, and these guys just roll down the stairs, no problem. And I'm like, okay, bike handling skills are pretty good here. We hit the trails, and Phil, all I remember is thinking I am no longer with these guys. I've been left behind. You and one other guy. Who was up there at the front, you think?
I think Jason Riley.
So Jason Riley, you have to tell us about him. He's a fit animal up there. You guys just dust us, and I'm sort of left back with the other old guys. But that was my intro. So we kind of come through, have a really fun mountain bike ride, and it is awesome single track. If you guys haven't done this Patasso Trail,
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
So much fun.
So much fun, and the Benjamin Loop is one of them. So we come back. Anyway, not to beleaguer the point, we come down the mountain, and that's when you tell me, hey, I used to know a triathlete, Jimmy Riccatello. So suddenly we've kind of hit it off. Oh, you had a past. And it wasn't until after that ride, Phil, that I said, I'm going to have to figure out what kind of riding this guy did. Looked up stuff like this and saw what we're going to talk about now, which is, yes, junior national champion. Where was that? When did that happen? Real quick.
Gosh, 97, I think. And it was Criterium national champion.
Oh, Criterium. Oh, even.
Yeah. So the time trial and road racing was my thing, but in the Criterium, ended up getting away with a couple guys in the rain, which I love the rain. And these guys just lost them.
Just lost them. I love
that.
That
Was in Wichita, I think.
Okay. Nice. So national champion, you kind of go on into bigger and better things. You start to progress as a professional. One of the things that I remember hearing about after, I think I heard about it on the spot, but again, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. You beat Lance Armstrong and Levi Leipiner in their peak in 2009 at the Tour of Gila down in New Mexico.
Yeah. So the whole team, their whole Trek team came to Gila as preparation for the Giro, which they both did reasonably well in the Giro. But on the big Queen stage, the big mountain stage, it came down to the 3 of us, and I was just barely able to out sprint them.
Very humble, barely able to, but you beat him. That's kind of a cool thing. Did that give you a lot of confidence as you're in that, knowing that this is right in the mix when Lance is winning all his tours?
Yeah, it was amazing. And my wife was in the follow car.
Nice.
So she was able to see it all firsthand. Yeah, it was really special.
So fun. I love that. Those memories are the best. And okay, so we're gonna cut to exactly when you moved to Boulder. And this is a little bit more of, we talk about this with all of our guests. Kind of just want to know, you came here, you said via Estes, you popped down and checked out Boulder. But when did you decide that moving to Boulder was going to be your gig? You were going to come here full time?
Yeah, it was in the 2000s. I was still traveling a lot, so getting to see the world. And I really made a conscious choice, like, if I'm going to start a family, it's in Boulder. This place is the best.
Okay, so when you were picking Boulder, it was already thinking down the road for family, not thinking for cycling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell me more about that. I mean, how did you know? What was it that kind of gave you that insight?
Oh, just for a child, the ability to grow up here and have the exposure to the outdoors and the seasons, it's, and be surrounded by other athletes.
I love that.
It's incredible.
I love that. Okay, I hadn't heard that. I didn't guess that. So, what year did you move here then?
Call it 2000.
2000. Okay, so about 24, 25 years ago. And you came here. What were your first impressions after you moved here? You've got a place. Where was your place? And what were you thinking kind of on a daily about being in Boulder?
So I was living with a friend up North Cedarbrook. But really what struck me about Boulder was how many fit people are here.
Yeah.
Like, I was, pretty good at cycling and I would be out riding and some grandpa passes me. It's like, where are we?
Yes.
Yeah. So that really struck me.
Okay. That's great. North Cedarbrook. So that's up Pine Brook Hills, right?
Yep.
Go up Linden and you're up there kind of in the hills.
Yep.
Did you ride your bike home every day or were you driving a car?
No, I was biking.
You're biking.
I really don't like to get in the car to go for a bike ride.
Yes. Okay. Correct. I know. So another little story when I was first getting to know you is you were you were one of the sort of the first, I would say, in our town to really adopt a bike as a way of getting around, had the girls up in the front of that. What's that kind of bike called?
Yeah. So that was a bucket bike.
Bucket bike. So he's got the kids up front, both of his girls in the bucket up front, kind of like
my wife.
And come on.
Yes.
You had all three of them.
All three of them.
That's the kind of legs we're talking about here. He's pushing 3 women in the front, 2 girls and his wife.
Boulder is made for biking. It really is. So as a family bike to get around with that bucket was perfect.
Okay. All right. That's good. So this one's a tricky one because you have to think back to 24 years ago. But if you had just 1 or 2 things that you love, top 2 things that you loved about Boulder then, because we like to compare it to now, see if it's the same. What did you just love about it?
I loved that the town really embraces athletes.
Okay.
It's really, everyone acknowledges that high class athletes are here and appreciates that.
Okay.
And then the restaurants.
All right. Okay.
The food.
Oh, that's good.
'Cause as a cyclist, I ate an insane amount of food every day.
Yes.
And amazing restaurants.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, we should touch on that now then. Can you think about some of your favorite restaurants back then that have gone maybe or are still around?
Back then, I was a noodles and company kind of guy.
Yes.
It was budget and calories.
Yeah, I'm still there actually. So that doesn't have evolved much, but was still in my top 5.
Yeah, Moe's Bagels.
Moe's Bagels. Yeah, the classics. Okay, that's good. So those are the favorites back then. Was there anything when you became a Boulder resident? Boulder County is now your jam. You still spend a lot of time in Tucson. Mm-hmm. You travel, but what was it that surprised you? You're like, I did not expect to come here and have this. Anything come to mind?
So Boulder, how tough it is to leave Boulder.
Okay.
Like people talk about the Boulder bubble. I'm like, Denver's down the road.
Yeah.
I don't leave Boulder.
Yeah. That's
fair. I'll go to a Broncos game once a year.
Yeah.
Our favorite restaurant is in Denver, Beacon.
Okay.
We'll go there once a year.
Once a year. So you're out of Boulder a couple times a year.
That's it.
Had the girls ever said, can we go to the zoo, Dad?
We take them to Colorado Springs.
Okay.
Has the best zoo.
Okay. That's right. What's that one called? Cheyenne Mountain. There it is. That just came to me.
So we will go down for that.
Okay. All right. Good. So you don't leave Boulder. So you were surprised in like, hey, I don't want to, don't really need to leave Boulder. Okay. Yeah. Good stuff. I love that. That's a good answer. And then if you were just kind of to pinpoint something down, you had the option of going anywhere. You already said one, you wanted to raise a family here, but what other things really caused you to stay in Boulder? I mean, I think we're kind of hitting them all, but
the main thing for me is the weather, the ability to see the sun so often. So coming from Tucson where you see the sun, every day.
Yeah.
352 days a year, I'm sure.
Sometimes more than you want. You're like, I get a little break from the sun.
Gosh.
For sure.
So Boulder being so sunny, like we'll get 6 inches of snow and then the next day is 50 and sunny.
Yeah.
So it really is perfect. Really caters to the outdoor crowd.
Yeah. The weather and the outdoors keeps being the theme here with Phil. And I couldn't agree with you more. And then, so this is interesting. A lot of times people come and they've been here 2-3 years and they say, man, I can't believe this has changed or that's gone. But for someone who's been here a quarter century, 24, 25 years, what's the biggest change you've seen? Could be positive or negative, but what's the main difference you're seeing in Boulder now to then?
Well, I'll speak from a personal standpoint. I don't really bike that much anymore and I trail run.
Okay.
So that's been the biggest change is learning the the trail running community, and it's amazing.
It's super fun.
It's really incredible.
I'll say I get it, and this is very kind and appreciated. I get an invite from Phil every couple of weeks to go run a trail, do some different trails.
Yep.
You know, I had been on the Anemone Trail back in the early 2000s when it was more of a rabbit path, more of a, really difficult. And you invited me down for a run, and that's kind of one of your main loops, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. But this summer, you're coming with me on the Skyline Traverse.
Okay.
That is my favorite.
Okay. You just heard it here.
It's incredible.
He invited / challenged me to do the Skyline Traverse with him. So that sounds awesome. And for those that don't know what that is, what is that Skyline Traverse?
So it's meant to be a loop both ways, but I only do it one way. So start in El Dorado and finish with Sanitas.
Okay.
So it's 18 miles, I think 6,000 feet of vertical.
Okay.
It's a big day.
So you started in El Dorado. Yeah, I did this with Amanda, and they still etched in the back of my brain. It was her birthday, and she said, I want to go do the Skyline. So you go up what's the first?
Bear
Peak.
Green, Flagstaff, Sanitas.
Okay. South Boulder.
South Boulder.
South Boulder. Okay. So you do all this climbing, and that's your favorite? You would say that's your favorite trail run around?
Yeah, it's my favorite way to spend a Saturday morning.
Yes, I love it. You did it recently.
Yeah, I was able to do it, I think 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, the snow had all melted. It was amazing.
Okay,
was
that's
so much
fantastic.
fun.
Did you have to wear traction or anything? You just wore trail shoes? Oh my gosh, that's
just
great.
trail.
Fantastic. Okay. This is good. So the biggest change for you is that you've changed sports more or less. You've changed kind of your major pastime. I love that. And it's a good segue. So can we talk about your bike crash?
Yeah. So really bad accident almost 8 years ago now.
Okay.
I was coming down Flagstaff on my bike. There was a lumber truck going up. Nobody saw the impact. We think he was maybe cutting the corners as he would in a heavy vehicle. And it clipped me. I have no recollection of the impact, but it clipped me and tore off my left arm.
My goodness. So you're coming down the mountain. Is this honestly, this is just a Tuesday group ride? Is this kind of a regular thing?
So I had some friends that work at Google. Okay. And so it was me and a bunch of Googlers. And fortunately, there's an incredible guy on the ride, Bill Davis, who used to be an Eagle Scout. So I crashed, and he took his jacket off and put a tourniquet on immediately and saved my life.
You are kidding! I did not know that.
Yep.
And so you're coming down the mountain. You're pretty good on the bike, as we've discussed. You're going pretty fast, and you've gotten away. Is that why no one saw the impact?
No, there were 2 guys in front of me.
Okay.
I think 3 or 4 behind me.
Yeah.
But it's so twisty.
Totally.
There's not much vision.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're here, like in an instant, life's changed. You basically are riding, and the next thing you know, you're in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up months later, and my girls were 2 and 3 at the time, so really tough on them.
Yeah,
tough on my wife.
Tough on Elizabeth.
Ended up being in the hospital almost 7 months.
7 months.
So.
And I know, and the thing that makes me super, because I know you guys really well, and this is kind of, I was getting to know you through more of these years. Elizabeth really, I mean, she was by your side nonstop.
Yeah, incredible.
And advocated for everything.
Yep. She really pushed to get me transferred down to Craig Hospital in Denver, and they saved my life.
Saved your life.
Yep.
Yes. And Phil's the guy too, very nonchalant, very casual. He just, we're just like, the same way I would tell you that I actually stubbed my toe. He's just like, I was just riding down the hill, lost my arm. And you're saying this, like, she saved your life. You tell me this stuff all the time. By the way, I just had, because you've had a bunch of procedures since over the last 8 years. Am I right?
Yeah. So I have terrible nerve pain.
Okay.
From that nerve bundle basically being yanked out of the spinal column. Yeah. So that's the big problem. I've done a few procedures to try to address that, but nothing's been successful so far, unfortunately.
Nothing. But again, where I look at this and I say, well, what a gift in a way that you were a top level professional cyclist and you were used to coping with pain forever.
Yeah, that's all cycling is pain management.
Right.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So dealing with the nerve pain, I am well suited for it.
You're well suited. You're equipped. Oh man. Well, and I appreciate you sharing the story because it's one of those things where, I have immediate love, more love for you and your family, watching you guys come out of that and seeing the success and what you guys do now. Cause now it's still you four and you guys are still out doing all the same stuff. I mean, you still ride the bike, not as much.
Not as much, but I still enjoy it.
Still enjoy it. You're very active. Your kids are active. We don't have to totally talk about your kids, but if we were just to kind of touch on this, I think is worth sharing. Now, what did you do last night, and why were you just Thursday, casual Thursday?
This is pretty good. So they've just started Nordic skiing up at Eldora, which is half an hour from Boulder. You're at incredible skiing, and their Nordic center is very good. So a few weeks ago, we say, all right, girls, you're Nordic skiing. And they're like, okay, that sounds fun. Yeah. So we go up to Eldora. It's 25 degrees out, pitch black, 50-mile-an-hour winds. We push them out of the car.
You guys stayed in the car.
They don't know what they're doing. And we hung out just expecting that they were going to come back after 20 minutes. Yeah. So they came back after an hour and a half. Huge smiles. Loved it.
I love that.
The best time.
Oh my gosh.
So now we go up there twice a week, and I've started snowshoeing while they ski. They have amazing network of snowshoe trails.
That's awesome. So by the way, the first night, picture, it's freezing, howling wind. Phil and Elizabeth stay in the car. Quickly, get out, girls. Go do this. We're going to stay in. But that doesn't last long. Now you're not one to sit by and watch. You're out there doing this, and you're snowshoeing.
Yeah. And snowshoe running.
Yeah, snowshoe running.
So much fun.
What a fun deal. So you did that last night. The girls are in Nordic. What other activities are you dropping these kids off at?
They're really big cellists. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they play cello, practice every week. Really incredible.
How cool is that?
Yeah, they've played for 5 years now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're really playing beautiful music now.
Wow, very cool. Nice. I did not know that.
And then they're also doing a running group on Wednesdays. There's Melody Fairchild, is a former 10K.
She was all the distances. Yeah, 10K at her best, 5K
incredible runner. And now she has a youth group that she does twice a week. So they're running with her on Wednesdays, and they love that.
There you go, Boulder Mountain Warriors, her group, and I have to say, one of the highlights for our kids, they do this with your girls, and my daughter comes back from that just beaming, getting to run with both your daughters, because they're just such nice. I mean, I think your kids are very positive. They take that from you guys, very positive.
They're good people,
happy kids, just like you. Okay, so you're doing the snowshoe. You made me think of something else on that. Well, by the way, for those of you listening, I'm going to say this out loud so you hold me accountable. We're going to get Melody Fairchild on the show. I think she'd be a good guest. Yeah. That's my goal. I haven't asked her yet, but we're going to do that. So if you guys know Melody, make sure you peer pressure her into coming on our show. So we've kind of naturally come into the current life, and this is something that fascinates me. You came from a cycling background. You've been experienced. You've talked about how much you love the outdoors, how much you love the restaurants here, the exposure to the athletes, and everything that Boulder has to offer. What do you do for a living now, and what made you pick that profession?
Yeah, residential mortgages. I've been doing it 12 years now, and when I stopped cycling, I didn't go to college. I just raced my bike. Yeah. So I didn't have a firm plan in mind. But I met Eric Kiter, who owns Boulder Lending Group. Yeah. And he's a former cyclist. Yeah. So we kind of bonded over that, and he said, just come work with me, see what you think of it. So I worked, in his office under him for 2 years, learned the business, and then, after 2 years, I decided, I'll become my own loan officer, and just fell in love with the loans. I really enjoy it. There's all the math involved, but I love the human aspect of it, getting to know the people moving here, creating friends. So many of my clients are still good friends.
There you go.
And at the end of the day, being able to help people.
Yes.
As you know, in real estate, finding that right home, finding the right mortgage, and just helping a family is really rewarding.
I couldn't agree more, Phil. I think that we share that in common, just the people aspect. So when 12 years ago, that's a long time in the industry. Do you feel like at this point, when you're going out there, are there challenges that you're still not used to facing? Are there things that you would talk about, say, hey, this is hard, this is great? Anything that you kind of specifically deal with on the daily with with your job?
Yeah, so the challenge now is the price of Boulder has gone up drastically. So it's really difficult for that young family to buy a house in Boulder.
Yeah.
So dealing a lot more with Lafayette, Louisville, and just the interest rates, of course. 3% was really nice.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
8% is really hard.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're in the sixes now, and I think it's going to continue to trend downwards.
Excellent. Yeah, for sure. Well said. And as we look at this, so you're that's actually how we met. And I think I referenced it before. I think either we were introduced via Amanda, or you were at a closing either on her side, the other side, either you represented her buyer or other side of the closing table. She got to know you, and we kind of she brought you into the fold, or you brought us in. But that's pretty cool. And folks, like, look him up if you guys are looking for, because I've done some great transactions with Phil, and this isn't a sales pitch, but what I always look at is this guy is a caring, likable guy. And in this industry, what you really want to know, like, and trust the person.
Yep.
Right. And so get to know Phil. I'm sure you're going to like him, and he's super, super good at what he does. All of that being said, I want to cut to this. So we talked about what you do for a job. We talked a little about your family, and then I'll ask you this just really specifically. What, if you just had to name, what is your absolute favorite hike? Just walk. Like, you may take the girls. Maybe we've all heard of this. Maybe it's a very controversial subject here, but what's your favorite hike out there in the Boulder County or Front Range area? It could be anywhere nearby.
Well, we already mentioned Skyline Traverse. That's a bit big.
Yeah.
I would say Sanitas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sanitas it's so hard.
It's
so hard.
It's so hard.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah. It's hard, but it's kind of what you put in, right? I mean, it can be, you can go easy.
You can walk it, take it easy.
Yeah. Okay.
You can think you're doing great. Look at the Strava times and see that somebody is 12 minutes faster.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
there you go. Oh my gosh, 12 minutes. And it took me, exactly, twice as fast as me.
Right.
That's Boulder for you. And then, okay, so then fun stuff. Talk about your favorite trail. We talked about already your favorite run. You gave me that on the Skyline, favorite run. I want to know now, what is your favorite coffee shop in Boulder, period, or Boulder County? Because at Boulder County show, we cover all the areas.
I love Belize.
Okay.
Yep. So that's close to my house, but it's a great vibe in there. The owner is amazing.
Yes.
Always back there making the coffees, saying hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Belize.
Greg, right?
Yep.
Yep. Greg at Belize. Yep. There you go. So right there, folks, if you don't know where that is, where is that specifically?
So that's Broadway and Alpine.
Right at Broadway and Alpine. Okay.
Next to KT's and Moe's.
Next to KT's and Moe's. So that brings up this question. What's your favorite restaurant? Back in the day, it was Noodles and Company and Moe's. What are you going to register best Boulder County restaurant for you?
So taking the wife to Frasca this weekend. That's pretty special.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Yeah.
Nice Valentine's Day.
Totally. Good for you.
Audrey Jane's Pizza Garage.
Okay.
Is the best pizza in town.
Okay.
For
there
sure.
You go. Okay.
Love going up to Carita.
Okay.
Have a drink at Carita. The view of the Flatirons is amazing.
Yeah. I hope everyone's taking notes.
And Stella Cucina.
Oh yeah. Tell me about that. We went there, and I don't know really where'd that come from.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like you walk down Walnut, and there's a little S on the door.
Yep.
No signs. Boom. You pop into this looks like a little speakeasy, almost hidden restaurant, right?
Yep.
Stella.
Yeah. You walk in and just incredible food.
I just want to call you out, Phil, and say, when I asked for favorite restaurant, you gave me 4. I love that. That is typical of Boulder County and very good. So good choices. Frasca Food and Wine. That one for your really nice out, right? That's like a spend a few hours out, special occasion. Stella, check it out. Audrey Pizza Kitchen. It's actually right behind Beleza, right? Or
exactly.
Yeah. So over there off 13th at Alpine as well. Great stuff. And then what about all the people that want to keep following you, Phil? They love what they've heard. They want to work with you maybe. They want to follow you on Strava. Do you want to share with everyone social medias, any sort of accounts that you want people to be aware of?
Let's go with just my website, PMZ Mortgage.
PMZ, what's that stand for?
Philip Matthew Zajicek.
There you go. So PMZ Mortgage, this is Phil Zajicek. And I would say still it's fun to follow him on Strava, get some inspo. You can also see some of these hikes we've talked about. And then, of course, you got a little social page on Instagram. By the way, and this is a big by the way, if you guys are interested, his wife, Elizabeth, incredibly beautiful eye. She does design work, and she's super talented, an amazing individual. You get around her, it's just like Phil. You're going to have a big smile on your face the whole time. So I just want to give a nod to Elizabeth. We love her as well. She does great work. So if you're ever looking for stuff like that too, I'm sure Phil will steer you towards her.
She's incredible. Like, I feel very, very lucky. Our house is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. I know. It's gorgeous.
It's all her.
Yeah.
I can take zero credit.
Zero credit. At least do you pick up the mess or anything? Do you like clean up, sweep up?
I love to do the dishes.
Yeah. Well, that is a talent and a sort of a skill set that is underappreciated, but it's super important. So
I love it.
I love it too. All right. Well, Phil, thank you so much for being here. Any closing thoughts for our audience, or shall we say goodbye for now?
Yeah, goodbye, and hope to see you on the trails.
That's right. So, folks, this has been another Love Where You Live podcast. Super excited to be here with you. I'm Michael Lovato. And until next time, I encourage you to go out there and do something that you love.